Back, everyone. We are continuing to follow the results of Colorado's primary election. We're hoping to get a bigger picture and a view of those results. So this morning we have Republican Senator Barb Kirkmeyer here with us, who won her own primary for State Senate District 23 GOP race last night. You're here to help break down a little bit more about main takeaways from last night. When you see the results for the Republican candidates, what stands out to you?
Common sense Republicans showed up, and the Republicans that won in their race are people who are ready to get to work, know what it means. We're in the minority, and they understand that it's going to have to go. We're going to have to work across the aisle to ensure that we can keep, getting things done and governing for the state of Colorado.
One of the things we were hearing from the candidates who did win their primaries last night was talking about uniting this party as we head into November. That's what they were saying. What do you think that realistically needs to look like to have any kind of meaningful impact ahead of November?
Quite honestly, I think the wins were pretty big last night. Like people winning. I mean, I was over 70% in my race, 68%, 62%. Those are huge wins. That's a mandate from the Republicans who did vote in the primary, letting everybody know we've got to move forward. We've got to chart a different path. We do need to come together. I think I'm excited about the slate of Republicans that I'll be able to work with here over the next few months to make sure that we get Republicans elected in November. So I think they're willing to get to work. Common sense has prevailed. It's about, Republicans have always been the party of freedom, opportunity, prosperity, and it's about working for Coloradoans. And I think they're ready to get that job done. It's not about name calling, bullying, and threatening. It's like, let's get over it. We're going to move on. I think people will come together after this. I'm not sure what Dave Williams will do. We'll see. But I think he suffered quite a few losses last night, and maybe he gets the message now. Right. Hopefully.
Talking about that a little bit more, because Dave Williams was one of the several GOP-endorsed candidates that did not actually win. What does that tell you about their messaging? I'm assuming you're talking about the messaging that came out during Pride Month that was anti-LGBTQ. What are voters saying in response to that?
Yeah, and I don't know that it was just about Pride Month. I think that was just kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. But, no surprise that Dave endorsed himself, essentially, for the GOP party. But again, I think the message is this. Look, you shouldn't have been endorsing candidates in a primary. That's just uncalled for. It's somewhat unethical. You shouldn't have been spending money on yourself. We need to be honest. And I think what we have now are candidates that are willing to move forward. And again, I think there'll be a lot of people that look at this and think, wow, great. The common sense Republicans came out again, because the last election we had the same kind of situation. But here we are stepping up, and Dave Williams hopefully will understand that his message didn't carry the day, and that it really truly is we need to get back to, that Republicans are the ones that have really pushed for the tax relief over this last session. We're the ones who brought forward the property tax relief, in a bipartisan way, but we were the ones that really pushed it and got it over the line. We're the ones who pushed for the education funding to follow our Constitution, to make sure that there's funding for our kids and we're not balancing the budget on the backs of students. We're the ones that pushed really very, very hard in this last session in the minority and had wins when it came to public safety and not coddling criminals. So I think that's the message. Republicans have seen that. I think not only Republicans, but unaffiliates have seen that. And they're going to say, look, we're going to follow these Republicans because they're ready to lead and they're ready to govern in a way that best moves our state forward.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you breaking down, giving some context, especially as we're just learning about the numbers and the results from last night. So we really appreciate it.